Welcome to Paso a Paso, Immigration Help with Steve Miller.
Hey everybody, welcome to an all-new episode of Paso a Paso, Immigration Help with Steve Miller. I'm your host, Mike Leon. You know, Steve here is the founding attorney of Affordable Immigration, and joining us today is Yanira Plazas, Affordable Immigration senior paralegal. Together, they've helped hundreds of families through visas, green cards, and waivers, including cases that require processing in Ciudad Juarez. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the military parole in place, how it can protect certain family members of the U.S. service members from deportation and open a path to legal status. Good to see you both. Steve, let's start with you first on this first question. What is a military parole in place, and why was this program created?
Yeah, well, thanks for having us, Mike. And it's a privilege to speak to our potential client, our immigrant community. That's our mission, is to inform our immigrant community of their possibilities under current immigration law, and then to help them to achieve those possibilities in an affordable and a respectful manner. So this is one of the great possibilities that does exist, and it's military parole in place, instituted by President Obama. He saw the need to help families who are, the children or the spouse are going in the military, serving our country, and their closest relatives are undocumented. So here they're serving their country, giving their all, and they're at risk of losing their family members to deportation. So Obama wanted to put a stop to that. And that's why we have this program, and it's for military families, either if they've been in the military or if they're currently in the military, and it's for helping them to feel better about their service and their sacrifice for our country. So it's a great program.
So let me ask you then, because you mentioned a little bit about who qualifies for it, but go a little bit more elaborate on who actually qualifies for it. Does the service member status affect the eligibility? And especially with the new administration in place, are there any changes to this program?
Just the first part of the question is immediate relatives of the service member, whether they're a past, present, or a past or present service member, they would be qualified for parole in place. And what it does is that's a pathway. It's an excellent pathway, not only to being here legally, but to achieving a green card status. That's kind of the main benefit with it. Even though they do get a work permit for about a year with parole in place, the main thing here is this is a great path to a green card. So it's a beautiful program, actually.
So I want to ask you, which family members of a U.S. service member can apply for the military parole? Is it close family, immediate family? Which ones can actually apply?
The immediate family members, such as a spouse of a service member, it is the parent of a service member, and children under 25 years of age of a service member. They would be able to qualify for that.
Yanira, if somebody's undocumented, Steve was just talking about green card before, but if somebody's undocumented, how can this program change their immigration options? And can it lead to a green card?
Yeah, so this program not only allows a family member to obtain the green card here in the United States, for the majority of our clients, most of them entered without permission, right? So this program allows them to apply for their residency in the United States without them having to go back to their home country. So that's what's called the paroled in. And so once they get this permission, if they have either a U.S. citizen child over 21 or a spouse who's a U.S. citizen, they can apply for the green card here in the United States. So eventually, yes, depending on each scenario, it can lead to a green card. Again, this program is discretionary, right? So each case has its own merits. We have to convince an officer why this person is eligible for a green card. But eventually, yeah, depending on the case, they are able to obtain a green card.
And Steve, piggybacking on that, how long does this usually take to get this military parole in place approved? And how long does it last once it's granted?
As of right now, it's taking a little bit longer. I would say in the last administration, it was taking about 3 to 4 months before we got an approval on a parole in place. Now it's taking a little bit longer, though it's still working. We're still succeeding at it. And then once they get their parole in place, they're paroled in for a year, and as soon as they're allowed to be here with parole in place, they can also apply for a work permit. And then if they have a child, if they have their spouse or if they have their their child who is 21, who was born here, that child can apply for them, or that spouse can apply for them to do adjustment of status. And they get to do that here in the United States. They don't have to go to their home country to process. So it's a big benefit, actually.
Yeah. And piggybacking on that, Yanira, I want to ask you because how does someone actually apply for this? And what documents do they need to show when they do apply for this?
Yeah, so just like any other immigration case, parole in place is discretionary, right? So we always tell our clients, you know what, this is not guaranteed, right? So we have to prove your case. So a lot of this has to be with the documents, right? So usually it depends on the scenario. For example, if it's a spouse applying through their veteran husband or wife, then in that case, it would be two passport pictures from the applicant, it's the person that's here in the United States without permission. We need their ID, marriage license, any divorces that either party have had, and then letters of recommendation, and also a declaration, right? Because the government wants to know what immigration violations have you violated, right? So obviously we know that they entered without permission. So obviously you have to be upfront and be transparent about that. And then we also need letters from the petitioner, the veteran, right? And as to why they want their spouse to remain here in the United States. I think the key in all of this is it's discretionary, right? So we try to gather as much proof from the applicant, right? Because you have this opportunity, right? You don't want it to go to waste. And so sometimes our clients think that it's a bit extensive, but we're trying to convince an officer, right, that this is what should be granted to this person. So depending on the situation, again, like it's just biographical information, pictures, and then birth certificates and letters of recommendation.
The immigration topic right now is so hot button given the new administration and some of the tweaks that they have made to immigration policy. I'm curious, in your experience, you've been helping families in this process. Someone's listening to this right now. What advice would you give them about how they can make the application stronger?
So I think that we're living in a time where everything is kind of in the unknown, right? And so I think the first thing that you would need to do is first determine if you're eligible for this program, right? Because this program forgives only one thing, and that's if you entered without permission. Now, if there have been previous violations, serious criminal history, then this isn't a program for you. But let's just give you an example. It's a mom who has been here for 20 years and their son just joined the military. Then in that case, I would tell her, okay, let's start building your case, right? Let's start gathering letters of recommendation. Let's get you a background check so we can show the officer that you don't have any criminal history. I think that a lot of this is, again, proving to this officer that you are deserving of this. And so being clear about your intentions, about why you want your green card and why you want to stay here is what the government wants to know. Again, I think that if there have been any past issues, and again, that's something that we would need to look at more closely and address them because in some cases there is a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah, there's possibility if we explain things and if people are honest. So, the main thing here is to be honest because in all the years we've been doing this, immigration has sharpened their knowledge skills and their databases are synchronizing better and better. So they know almost everything that's happening or has happened. It seems like they know things that you wouldn't actually expect them to know about people. So coming in and trying to pull something over on the government is not a great idea because then you've committed fraud and then you've probably made yourself ineligible for future benefits. So being honest, especially right now, is the best process because, especially if you actually commit fraud in your application to the government, you're very liable to be put into deportation proceedings. It's very likely. So, yeah, we want people to be honest, and we ourselves want to be honest with the government and with our clients.
Steve, speaking of they know everything, can someone apply for a military parole in place if they already have another immigration case that's pending?
Yes, they can. We can sometimes couple those together. Sometimes someone already has an I-130 pending or they have DACA. And we do our best just to get everything synchronized. And actually, that's our commitment to people, is to help them achieve the best possible outcome. with the least possible exertion and money. We don't take people down rabbit trails trying to make money off people just to that's not our motion. That's not our motive or our mission in life. Our mission is to help our clients. So we try to couple up whatever they've got done before with this possibility, and very often it does produce a very good outcome.
And for both of you guys, as we wrap here, Yanira, I'll start with you. Military families listening right now, you said the first thing they should do is see if they qualify. They think they may qualify. What's the first step that they should take?
Okay, so if and when they do qualify, we got to determine, right, what are their immigration violations, and then begin with the paperwork, right? Begin gathering the family member who's in the military, like their DD 214, like their contract, or their government ID that shows they're currently in the service. Actually, recently we've been receiving new information about that, right? That they are requesting more information about
Yes.
the service member.
Yeah, and now they're tightening up the process so that this service member needs to have kind of completed boot camp in before they will actually accept the applicant and approve the applicant. Because I think before some people probably thought they could start the process, go to, and start and join the military, and then they dropped out before they were done with the boot camp, and then the client who was in the process was denied because their children or their spouse did not complete the process.
Mm-hmm.
So it's getting a little bit tighter. They're tightening up the screws on this process here.
Yeah. Well, Steve, Yanira, thank you so much for the time and insights on this. We truly appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you and to the potential clients out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to everybody out there for listening to this episode of Paso a Paso Immigration Help with Steve Miller. Look, if you or someone you love is a service member and you want to learn more about this military parole in place, do me a favor right now. Visit immigratenw.com or call 971-308-5892 for a free consultation. And don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a review and comment, or share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. As always, I'm Mike Leon. We'll see everybody next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.